Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Plague Inc. Evolved Custom Scenarios. Voice is feeling a little bit better today, so let's move on to a request for something that actually is working its way up the popular, not tab, but the popular trending section of Steam right now, since they're never going to update this again, apparently. And that is Chimerae. Now for some reason I thought we'd already done something called Chimerae before. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I know I'm subscribed to it, but this is the one that was requested by author Wildfire. So let's take a look. Humanity has stripped you of your abilities and left only your most basic functions working, effectively repurposing you into a cure for various neurological diseases such as Alzheimer's. As a crippled parasitic worm, you are too weak to directly kill your infectees. Dig into their brain and avoid detection until you are strong enough to show why genetically modifying a parasitic worm isn't the greatest idea. My first plague, P for gifts and mistakes, is definitely winnable though. Okay, seems reasonable enough. First plague, and it was definitely 5 stars for a while. Looks like it only recently dipped down to 4, but that's still pretty darn good. And it is a Neurax worm. ATP boost, armorness, parasite extreme fall, and symptostasis all seem fine. It is called the Neurocure. Alltech Industries releases the Neurocure. I actually do have a little bit of a sore on the side of my tongue. It makes it very difficult to talk sometimes. The esteemed Neurological Research Center Alltech Industries has just released their long-awaited Neurocure in the form of a small worm that can be surgically removed after the treatment is over. Many express doubts about the validity of the cure, but one cannot argue with results. Or can you? You are a handicapped worm. Aww. That just put some sad little images in my head. Heavily genetically modified, you no longer possess the ability to kill or harm your infectees. Alltech has your genetic structure fully mapped out, so if you rebel too quickly too early, they will have no problem stopping your rise to power. And we're starting in the frickin' Cuba? Oh, okay. I've heard their healthcare system is absolutely amazing. Alright, transmissions. We have Genetic Regeneration 1. The worm regains some of its original abilities, allowing it to begin spreading itself around the world. Let's go ahead and pick it up to start. That opens up water. Worm skin becomes highly vascularized. What a word. Allowing absorption of oxygen, survival, and transmission in water. There's the Zoonotic Shift. And air. Worm can dehydrate to become lighter. Okay. Genetic Regeneration 2. The worm evolves even further, barely staying under the radar. Opens up new infectivity options and slows research speed. So we probably should go for some basic infectivity first, and then kind of work our way down there, right? So let's start with water. We are on an island after all. Symptoms. We start off with the cure. Allows the worm to cure various neurological diseases, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. That leads to Brain Feeder 1. The worm occasionally feeds on small, rarely used parts of the brain to grow. Causes light headaches. So is this going to be basing on that whole, like, oh, we only use so much percentage of our brain thing, so we can just nibble on the unused parts? Which, by the way, from my understanding, complete myth. There is no, like, oh, we only use 10% of our brain crap. We use the whole brain. It'd be very inefficient for us to just develop, evolutionary, a whole load of different parts of the brain that have no function. That's dumb. Now, and then we have our cold, heat, and drug resistance. Resistance. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Alltech Industries now shipping groundbreaking Neurocure. You know, you would think that this means that we're going to get spread naturally, right? We'll get spread all over the freaking world, and then once we click the right button, boom! Like every country has us infected because Alltech was doing the distribution for us. But I doubt it's going to work out that way. After months of rigorous testing, we can confidently say that our Neurocure poses absolutely no threat and is safe for patients everywhere to use, says head researcher Dr. E. Malcolm. The cure is being shipped worldwide from the company's private islands. Does the company own Cuba? That'd be kind of cool, actually. All right, let's go for some air transmission. I'm just going to go with some of the basics for now. It did sort of warn you that you don't want to get detected too early, and that there might be some balance tweaking, but it is winnable. And I'll believe you when you say that it's winnable. Most scenarios, even if they are unbalanced, are winnable. It's just a question of how much time you're willing to spend on it. Do you want to go for the Zoonotic Shift? Yeah, let's go ahead and pick that up. All right, so we've gotten all the transmission options we have available at the beginning. Probably could go for some brain feeding. Let's do that. Tiny bit of severity. Don't think it'll be too much of a problem, though. Hypnagogic hallucinations. Maybe it's a real word. I don't know what it is, though. Starts hallucinating just before falling asleep, causing insomnia in some cases. Most will attribute it to nightmares. And corpus callosotomy. calosotomy? That may be right. Worm uses its tendrils to cause a divide between the host's brain halves. Oh. Leads to confused wandering and difficulty completing advanced tasks. Well, again, we probably don't want to get too much there. Hey, I forgot. We appear to have an airport on Cuba. And we are definitely getting distributed very rapidly. Holy crud. Well, I guess I should get some severity. Let's go for Corpus and the hallucinations. Just a tiny bit of severity to try and increase my odds of getting a bit more DNA, though I may be regretting that right now. Altec Industries under fire after allegations. To believe that we would implant a live parasitic worm into people's brains is preposterous. These people are only looking to tarnish Altec's reputation. The cure is safe, he insists. Fool! Alright, maybe I should cool my jets on the severity. I wasn't thinking that was very much. Let's not worry about that, though. Let's keep that where it is. Instead, we're just going to worry about some more transmission options. Actually, we could go for some drug resistance. Drug resistance is actually still a pretty good idea. Just so we spread a little bit faster in Europe. As a Nurex worm, maybe we'll be able to stop the cure in its tracks pretty easily. And I could go for some cold transmission, which is actually a good idea since we are getting into Russia. So we'll get all of that going, then I'll focus on more transmission options. But I'm not going to do any more symptoms. I just got to hold myself back for a minute. Rumors of mysterious illness in Altec Isles. Rumors are spreading of the mysterious illness which is sweeping through Altec Isles. However, doctors find no evidence of ill health. It's being suppressed for corporate greed. In this case, I think quite literally. That's actually a completely fair assumption here. All right, let's go ahead and pick up a genetic regeneration level 2. That unlocks insects, more water, and rodents. So all those seem pretty good. And genetic regeneration level 3. At the very least, I think we may want to get water level 2. Although, honestly, this airport seems to have gotten us to so many places early on. We've got a pretty tremendous spread. I mean, we still have a lot of islands to get into, so I do think water is worth it. But this is pretty good. For this early on in the game, that's pretty darn good. Protesters claim the mystery plague is real. Well, you guys can say all that all you want. It's a big conspiracy theory. Go wear your tinfoil hats, dummies. All right, so we got water level 2. We could go for another level. I'm a little worried, though, that we're going to have a hard time keeping afloat if we run out of DNA. That's the problem. We don't have a lot of other countries to get into. And I'm going to run out of DNA pretty quick. Maybe we do need to go for some more symptoms. It's a bit of a risk, but it's worth a shot, right? Brain feeder level 2? All right, let's go ahead and pick that up. We are getting a pretty reasonable amount of infectivity as we do this anyway. Sensory hallucinations. Host experiences light sensory hallucinations such as touch or smell without any stimuli. Unpleasant scents at home can cause the host to wander, or wonder, both could be right. Auditory hallucinations. Fear of social conformity means host is less likely to see a doctor. That sounds pretty useful. Less likely to get detected if you do things like that. Boom! Command hallucinations. Auditory hallucinations evolve into short, direct commands to the host that incentivize them to spread the plague far and wide. Okay, so they have now officially detected the neurocure is not actually all it was cracked up to be. That's okay, though. Let's go for the command hallucinations. That leads to visual hallucinations. Let's see. Host sees other human beings as hostile non-human creatures and will attack it out of pure fear with no moral sense. France starts working on the cure. Blackout symptom mutated. What was that? Host will black out for several seconds each day, allowing the worm full control of the brain for that time, and to dig its tendrils deeper without causing unrest. Nervous breakdown. Carboxylic? Is that how you say it? Acid injected into the host's brain kills important connections to the nervous system. Decreases severity and research speed, but is lethal in some cases. Well, we could be adding in some lethality no matter what we do here, which I'm a little bit concerned about. Don't know if we need to go for genetic regeneration 3. If we do that, they will realize I'm no longer a cure, though. So it's a bit of a risk. I may want to wait until we've at least gotten into Greenland, and if that's the case, let's go ahead and pick up an extra level of cold resistance so we spread faster in places like Russia. After I've done that, though, I have no problem with them realizing that I'm not actually a cure. I have been living a lie, pretending to be something that I am not. You thought that I was here to save you, but alas, I was not. Alright, we have Greenland. Now you all may realize your doom. We have pets, we have air 2, we have birds, and we have larvae. Honestly, we're getting to a point where I don't think infectivity is that important anymore. Genetic regeneration 4, evolve past the point you once were into uncharted territory. Become the ultimate plague! I mean, I have to do that just because it says ultimate plague. You gotta do things like that. So we have egg burst. Infects millions. I'm guessing this is like a spore burst, so we don't actually need that. Let's go for visual hallucinations for lethality. There's brain feeder level 3, which is pretty decent. We'll go for nervous breakdown instead. That unlocks mania. Probably slows down the cure, so we'll pick that up too. And encephalitis, inflammation of the brain tissue under the worm. This is actually pretty well put together so far, by the way. Lots of good medical terminology. I do appreciate that. This isn't very lethal, though. Do I really care that much about this? Probably not. We do have aggression, irrational hatred, and violence. One might say that all violence is irrational and hate-based in some way. But anyway. All right, let's go for brain feeder. Let's go for aggression. Why not? Let's just start ramping up that lethality. We're in pretty much everywhere. Now, China's having some trouble. I may want to get some more urban transmission. Could go for rodents. For 15 points, I guess I can go ahead and do that. Let's give it a shot. Want to make sure that we don't have trouble in some of these places. I've been focusing so much on Greenland, I haven't paid much attention to Kazakhstan. Who is poor and arid. I think we're going to be okay, though. We'll go for some more air transmission for the arid stuff. And nothing here for poor. Yeah. Let's go for encephalitis. This leads to Trojan Plains, which we don't need at this point. A little bit late to be useful to me. Suicide. Yeah, I'm a little worried about Kazakhstan. Let's get critical mass. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Never mind. Suicide, and then we have total brain death. Complete consumption of most brain cells triggers massive immune system response, leading to complete and irreversible loss of brain function. Max lethality, and then stick it to them. Devolve the ability to cure the neurological diseases you were designed to eradicate just for fun, because screw you. You imprisoned me. How dare you. Now I will not cure your Parkinson's. I mean, I could have cured it and killed you, but now I will kill you without curing you. Just because I hate you. And let's just try to get a little bit extra score, some genetic reshuffles, since we have plenty of DNA. Turns out my fears of not having enough gas were completely unfounded. We did just fine with DNA. Alright, so the Neuro Cure has destroyed all life on Earth. That didn't seem too bad. It was pretty well balanced. We got that first try with just some simple intuition. Either that or I really am just that good. Alright. So, 55,000 points, 443 days, 2 stars, only 29% cure progress. It's a pretty well put together plague, honestly. I'm actually not sure why it's at 4 stars. I think it's perfectly fine being at 5 stars. What are people complaining about? Now, this one seems just fine to me. I like the theme of it. I like the balancing. I like a lot of the medical terminology. It makes sense. It follows a clear, consistent path. Honestly, this is what I would consider to be, you know, a good benchmark for what a good Plague Inc. scenario ought to look like, in my personal, not-so-humble opinion. So for a first-time scenario, that's pretty darn good. Well freaking done. Yes, absolutely, I'll say I enjoyed that. Thank you for sending it my way. Alright, thank you all very much for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed. If so, then be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.